But what does this meeting with Carrick mean? Well, it's short term. It's Michael Carrick saying, I want players now that I think will help me now. Any manager, if they're asked in a meeting, do you need players, is going to say yes. But they're not going to go and buy Michael Carrick, Elliot Anderson, and they're not going to go and buy Michael Carrick, Osman, or anything like that. These are going to be conversations about, we might be able to do a loan deal. We might be able to do a cheap deal. And I think that's the sort of conversation we're going to have. Because even if Michael Carrick was given the full-time job, he should only be asking for big players in the summer. He should not be. You can't be sacking Ruben Amorim because he wanted players in January and then bringing in an interim and giving him players. That would be incredible. So we can't do that. So I think this meeting will be, what opportunities are there in this market that can help us in the short term ahead of the summer where they want to spend big, right? It does pose the question why they're doing this halfway through January. I think that is a great point. Why are we sat having a meeting with Michael Carrick on the 19th of January when this window has been signposted for 4 months and open for nearly 20 days? That in itself is a fantastic point. Why are we sitting down now, 19 days into the window, and we've known about this window for 4 months? That is Wilcox's problem. That is Barada's problem. And if I'm Sir Jim Radcliffe, I'm asking that question. Why 3 weeks into this window are we sitting down to discuss opportunities in this window? Look at the points we've missed out on. Look at how much it's cost us to sack the manager. You said you weren't going to do any business for Amorim, and now you're going to do it for an interim. What's going on? And they're valid. They're very valid points. They're very valid points. It's got nothing to do with Amorim or not. It's to do with the fact that coming into the January transfer window, it doesn't matter whether it's Michael Carrick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ruben Amorim, or bloody James Corden in charge, or Ollie Murs. You still need to do stuff in January. So I'd be saying to Wilcox and Barada, okay, it's good that you're having this meeting, but why didn't you do this 3 months ago? Why didn't you do it on January the 1st? You know, whether Amorim was here or Carrick was here, you still needed players in January. Why are you sitting down now with an interim going, let's have a meeting about signing? So the positive for me is that we do need to do it, but you can certainly say, why are they sitting down now doing it? Absolutely, exactly. If I was Michael Carrick, I think you've got to be looking at the midfield. And maybe Joshua Zirkzee going out the door as part of that. I think in the way that we're going to play, we don't need Zirkzee. I think Sesko might be on the bench on Sunday. You've got Obi, and you know that Carrick will use him. You've got Mbeumo can play up front, Cunha can play up front, Mount can play as a number 10. We probably don't need Zirkzee. So we can probably move him on a loan deal, make a little bit of money, and use that money towards a midfielder that we do need. So I think that'll be the limitation of the conversation. So look, I'm going to start talking about the loan deal now because I think a lot of people are guessing. So we'll see what happens with this meeting that Fabrizio talks about. But I would imagine within that meeting, the mystery loan deal will be discussed as per Ben Jacobs on the Football Terrace on Friday, putting it out there that Man United had held secret talks on Friday for a midfielder loan deal who has played in the Premier League before, but is not currently playing in the Premier League and isn't playing in Saudi, right? Rabiot's not played in the Premier League, Mini Brew. Now, I've spent all weekend, and I'm not that guy, you know, I respect the fact that when this comes out, this is Ben Jacobs' story, and I'm sure he will pop it out when he wants to. But I am also aware that maybe somebody else will drop it before him, and I'm 95% sure I figured it out, right? And I'm not going to drop the name. I'm not going to drop the name. As much as I would love to do that, I also believe that this is Ben Jacobs' story. And, you know, even if I'm right, which I'm 5% might not be, but I'm 95% sure I am. Even if I'm right, I don't want to drop the name out because, you know, you could drop that name out and ruin the deal as well. You know, you could drop that name out and people go, we better not do this. And then United don't do it. And also, it's Ben's story to drop out. So all I'm going to say is the player I'm thinking about has played in the Premier League, isn't in the Premier League at the moment, is over the normal age. So they're not young. They're over the 26 barrier that we normally have. And from the homework I've done, and God, it's took me a few hours, I have basically gone back over previous interviews And it is a name that's been mentioned before. It has been mentioned before. And I sort of, it amazes me that nobody's ever mentioned this name. And even on the show now, nobody's mentioning this name. Nobody has mentioned this name. A couple of people are mentioning it now. But the point is, all on Friday, we had Loftus-Cheek, we had, Billy Gilmore, all these names coming out. And I never saw anybody mention this name. Now, what I will say is, because I want to drop a bit of a hint when it comes out, so people go, oh, he's not bullshitting. What I will say is, quite a mid signing. I think some people will get excited if it happens, some people won't. And you're going to know the name at some point. When it's safe to say it, I'll say it. But I think Ben Jacobs has got to put it out there first. A very mid signing, in my opinion. Ridiculously short term. This will not be something that people want long term. It's not, in my opinion, a player that's going to make Man United great again. I understand why Michael Carrick would want it. I do understand why Michael Carrick would want it, because it's better than nothing and there's a bit of experience there. My concern is injuries. I see him as quite an injury-prone player, and he has quite a specific injury problem. And that would be my concern. Other than that, he's definitely better than nothing. You wouldn't be buying him in the summer. I would hope we wouldn't be buying him in the summer. And yeah, it's a player that is better than nothing, in my opinion. So I've still not seen lots of names in the chat again, but I'm not seeing it. I saw it about a minute ago once, and I've not seen it since then. And there's a lot of people saying certain names. No. Joshua, you're wrong. Nacho, you're wrong. It's not Ruben Neves. Not on loan. Oh, Super Chat might have. Goldbridge might be onto something. No, I'm joking. So